wine number 6 and the final wine of this tasting. And we're in Italy and we're in Tuscany. And Tuscany has always been the home of Chianti. And then people decided they wanted to break the rules. And it was in a time that, Bordeaux was doing well globally, and we started to see people ripping up and replanting with these global varietals, the Merlots, the Cabernet Sauvignons, and, the other Bordeaux varieties. And people didn't like that. People were like, you're not meant to do that. So it took away from these wines being able to be classified as DOC or DOCG, and they could only be a table wine. So there's a little group of people doing this. They coined the term Super Tuscan, which technically means absolutely nothing, but it means you're getting generally a Bordeaux style blend, a lot of the time Cab dominant, and a lot of the time with a little bit of Sangiovese in as well, because that's kind of what was the heritage and what was going to be made. But this is Ornellaia Grazia, and this is a 2018 vintage, and it's owned by the Frescobaldi family, who, what they don't know about wine in Italy probably isn't worth knowing. And this takes Super Tuscan and kind of turns it on its head, because it's not Cab dominant, it's 51% Merlot. It's then got a big chunk of Cab in there, which is about 40%. We've then got a little bit of Petit Verdot in there as well. And then when it comes to the Sangiovese aspect, absolutely none. So not a drop of Sangiovese to be seen. So a really interesting style of blend for this Super Tuscan from a region that is generally dominated by Sangiovese. So what's it all about? If we did this 20 years ago and it's all young wine, it would be undrinkable. It would be so tannic, so tight, so chewy, so over the top, because that was the style that was being made. This, is it young? Yes. Does it need a bit of air and a swirl, maybe in a decanter? Yes. But it's not that you open it up and go, oh, I shouldn't have drunk this, it's really not ready. You can see this will improve over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It absolutely will. But I don't have the patience for that, so that's why I'm drinking it right now. But lots of dark fruit, this kind of sweet chocolatey mocha flavor coming through. It's a mind-blowingly good wine. And, sometimes, you hear these Super Tuscan names like Sassicaia and things like that. Ornellaia is up there with some of the very, very, very best wineries, not just in the region, not just under the Super Tuscan label, but just Italy in general, and even the world of wine. You put this up against, a real Bordeaux, or a Bordeaux style blend from Napa, or a big Cabernet Sauvignon driven wine from over in Australia. This stands up. It's a real player in the world stage of these Bordeaux style wines, and this is what's great. We're starting to see more wines being global. We're seeing great wines from all over the place. It doesn't just have to be the classic regions. It's people who are tearing up the rule book because they think they can do something better, something interesting, and something that's absolutely delicious. And this is really what we've got with this bottle of wine.
You mentioned Sassicaia. That literally borders onto the Ornellaia vineyards, doesn't it? And was part of the same family.
At the beginning, with the Super Tuscan, the Antinori family with the originalities of Super Tuscans.
I think it's spectacular. I just can't... I'm so glad we've opened it now, because I think what you can see here is the aging potential of it. The fact that we've seen it in this state now and it's still so beautiful. I can't imagine what it'd be like in 20 years' time, but I kind of want to find out. I know that's why people age it and they buy it as investments, but I just want to drink these things.
Absolutely. And I think we've gone through these 6 wines. All these wines tonight have been spectacular. They all tell their own story from their own people, and it's just an absolute joy to be able to get these wines open and talk about them and bring them to people to try and taste. When you might not want to just dive in and buy a bottle at 100, 150, 175 pounds, you can get it open, try it, taste it, get a little bit of history, a little bit of a feel of the people, and go, is this my new style? So when you do want that very, very special bottle, you can go, yeah, I know a bit about that. And that's where you dive in, and we're not going into big, expensive bottles of wine, absolutely blind. And that's what we've done a little bit for you this evening.
And you certainly have. We don't obviously normally open in our regular monthly club quite such expensive wines, but the wines that we open have all got a similar craft story, and they're all made by real people who've got a real history. Like, I mean, we're also hoping to do a few more of these kind of tastings in the future, aren't we?
No. Oh yes,
But I am.
yes. I'll do the tasting. Absolutely. So, if there's bucket list wines out there that you'd love to try, give us a shout, and if we can source them and we can get them into our next tasting, we'd love to. But thank you very much for tasting along with us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm going to finish this. Cheers.